Now, a group of students from Wits University have spent the night camped outside the vice-chancellor's residence. They've vowed to continue protesting until their demands are met. These include a 45,000 rand accommodation cap and to allow those with historic debt to go ahead and register. Now, the university has condemned the violent protests and it's called for the academic program to be allowed to continue. Let's get you the latest on the situation there. We're joined this morning by the president of the SA Youth Economic Council, that's Kanakana Mudzanani. Great to see you here in studio. Thanks for coming on.
Well, good morning, Michelle, and good morning to your viewers, and thank you so much for inviting us to have a say on the current developments at Wits University.
So let's begin with the role that the Youth Economic Council is playing insofar as these discussions between the Wits SRC and the university itself is ongoing.
So as the South African Youth Economic Council, we've been very vocal about the issue of financial exclusions at Wits University because they affect quite a lot of young people, and you would understand that education, at least in South African context, plays a critical role in advancing one's socio-economic position in society. So in liaising with the SRC, we have consistently reiterated the fact that we support their cause. We do think it's a just cause, and it's about time that we wage a relentless war against the commodification of higher education, particularly because in South Africa, education, or at least higher education, continues to be seen as a cost and not as a social investment, because we firmly believe that by investing in higher education, you are going to have great social returns. You are guaranteed that one who is working is going to contribute to your country through taxes, so it increases your tax base. But secondary to that, because they are employed or they are working, you are going to save in social welfare. You don't have to give them free health. You also don't have to provide them with housing. So we firmly believe that if we are serious about developing this country, we need to invest more in higher education, and we have to make sure that young people are given the privilege or the right to actually pursue their higher education in order for them to go and build this economy. Yeah. So our position as a council is to throw our weight behind the Wits SRC. We are consistently speaking to various stakeholders of society to aid them in their discussions with the university management, because we believe that that which they are fighting for is a just cause. No one must be deprived the opportunity to learn on the basis that they are from a poor background.
Yeah, absolutely. And how have those discussions been going insofar as the SRC and the university?
They've been going quite well, to be quite honest. I mean, there was a view that was being raised, I think, about last week on social media, that they are fighting for students who are poorly performing, and over and above that, they are not fighting for anything that is genuine. And we had a consultative session with them. The SRC president was there, and we were inquiring as to what exactly is happening. And it was quite interesting that as we were in that meeting, there were about 80 students outside the SRC boardroom who were still expecting the SRC to assist them in one way or the other. And in the queue, as I was about to leave the meeting, a young lady called Mavumulapo then approached me, and she told me about her financial situation, that she is a fourth-year medical student with a stunning average of 76%, who has not been granted the privilege to study or to continue and finish her medicine degree, simply because both her parents are unemployed and they don't know how they are going to afford that 100,000 rand that Wits is demanding from her. So after that, as a council, we knew that that which the SRC is fighting for is genuine, and we have the responsibility to call on society to say these are not hooligans. These are young people who are merely saying we have Mavumulapo, who has a stunning average of 76%, and many more other stories that are genuine of students who come from poor backgrounds, who are doing extremely well in schools, and who want to change their social standing. Can we at least hear their pleas as South Africans? And as a result, this is why as a council we firmly believe that society has to support these young people, because the cause that they are fighting for is one which is a good cause.
So the university will tell us it's about affordability, right? That they just don't have the money to support these students who are unable to, for example, pay their registration costs. What has Wits University said in response to that story that you've told us. And as you say, there are many, many other students just like that.
So, Michelle, I had the privilege of serving as the Wits SRC Treasurer General in 2021 when Adam Habib was still the Vice-Chancellor. And one of the things that he actually did was to start what is called an endowment fund to fundraise for the centenary campaign of the Wits University. So his target was to raise about 3 billion rand, invest that 3 billion rand, and the proceeds of that investment would go to funding the missing middle. What is quite concerning is that Neti Cash was one of the donors that actually pledged, I think, around 150 million rand. I know subsequent to that there was quite a huge amount of money that was raised. What is actually appalling is the fact that that money is not redirected to that which it was expected to be used for. That money is not solving the question of historical debt, and it's not seeing to ensure that those who are from a missing middle are being assisted.
So what's the money being used for?
So the claim that the university does not have money is not a genuine claim, and it's false. The university is now embarking on a serious project of investing in infrastructure, which, as much as it could be important, we have to acknowledge the fact that the university has a role to advance a public good, which is education, and we can't allow to leave students like Mavumulapo to be left behind when we've just raised a lot of money from the previous centenary campaign.
So where is that money that was raised under Adam Habib for that endowment process?
The money is there, but what has shifted it is what the money is actually being used for. Yes, exactly. The university will tell you every day that we must improve on infrastructure, that we must source the best talent. We fully agree with them. However, what we are saying is that what should be of priority is you guys to make sure that you contribute to the development of society, and by doing so is at least giving students the privilege to learn. One thing we must also call out, Michelle, and I think this is very important, is the newly introduced regulation by NSFAS to cap accommodation at 45,000 rand. That is reckless. I mean, in Bramfontein, the cheapest bed you can find is about 6,500. And you are saying someone who is a SASA recipient must cover the shortfall before they move in. Where are students going to get the money? Then Minister Blaine Zimande tells us that NSFAS is taking private accommodation or private residences to the Competition Commission. Whilst that process is unfolding, let go of the cap so that students can go back to class and they can continue with learning, because it's quite a disadvantage to a lot of students that we are now in the third month of the academic year. Most of them are not registered. Some of them are sleeping in toilets and libraries. We can't continue with such a situation, which is why as a council we have now called on the president to say, as he's about to announce his cabinet today, can he at least relieve Minister Nzimande of his duties in the Department of Higher Education and Training, because under his tenure the sector has suffered immensely. Students have extremely suffered. But what is also critical is that now, after finishing looting the skills fund, they are now moving to NSFAS. They have now centralized the process of accreditation of accommodation to Cape Town. This is a process that was handled by institutions of higher learning. They've centralized that process because they want to increase their looting pie. NSFAS struggles with administering applications of students. What more with residencies, Michelle? So we firmly believe that if there is an agenda to even loot NSFAS, which is supposed to help the poor go to school, clearly what students are fighting for at Wits University is their future, and is to protect and uphold this country, because without young people going to school, we are going to have a situation where government consistently spends in social welfare and not investing in economic programs that will alleviate us from poverty.
So what's the next step insofar as the protest action and the discussions with the university?
So, as you would know, the SRC did communicate the fact that the university has served them with papers from NSFAS Africa. I am quite aware that through our interventions and working with the SRC, there is a legal team that is representing them and is responding to the university to assist the SRC members that are suspended, particularly because they are fighting for a just cause. Classes can't continue for the privileged, whilst the poor, like Mama Vulo Mulapo, who are supposed to be studying medicine, are falling behind. So we are saying they must be assisted. However, we are also calling on the university to say you have the ability to make certain relaxations within your budget. For instance, the university has in-house residencies. The cheapest one, Michelle, is 65,000 rand. And it's not like the university is repaying bonds. They have a res called Men's Res, Sunnyside and Jubilee. They fully own them. In those residencies, at least say we are going to cap it at 45,000 rand and we are going to allow NSFAS students to stay there. Then post that, you can make a concession to say all students that have passed all students with the PCD, because you have the resources available, they are going to register immediately. And all the students with an average of 50% who have been readmitted by the university to come and study, you are going to make a plan for them. Because education, Michelle, as Madiba said, is a powerful weapon which we must use to transform the South African society. And those who want to stop young people from studying must know that they are destroying their future. And as the South African Youth Economic Council, we are not going to allow that to happen under our watch, which is why we've said government must act very fast against Minister Nzimande. If not, we are going to have to make means to ensure that we force this government to listen to us, because young people must be heard.
Kanakana Mudzanani, let me thank you for your time this morning. He's the president of the SA Youth Economic Council. Wits University, for its part, releasing a statement just before midnight last night. The topic of that statement says, following our engagement with the SRC and following further correspondence today, the SRC rejecting the concessions presented by Wits University. The story, of course, continues, and we'll be keeping tabs on it throughout the day and the coming week as well.